But then there's collections lockup, right? Which is
Mhm.
something when they announced it, I've just gush a little. I was like, oh my God, finally someone's like put a name on it, right? Like this is so important thing that I've been living and breathing for a decade. But there weren't great terms, from accounting. You call that DSO, right? Or sometimes there's other metrics for that, but that's not what the average small to mid-sized business owner knows.
Yeah.
Collections lockup is really helpful for law firms, and it was published by Clio. It comes from accounting standards, right? But it is then, as you can guess, how long from billing does it take to get paid, right? And
Mhm.
that median, I believe, if I'm not to misquote, is right around 45 days. And
Mhm.
so even longer than it took to get the bill out the door. And then
Mhm.
when they did, I think they used a slightly different formula. They measured total lockup, right? The combination of that. And when they did the median for that, it was 97 days, I believe.
Yeah, I
Whoa,
saw that.
like,
Crazy.
it's like, "Oh, man," but, like, I see that, and I'm like, not shocking to me, but hopefully shocking to some. So, the work you're doing right this moment as you listen to this podcast, right, you shouldn't expect to get paid for a quarter from now. Unacceptable, right? So
Yeah.
we've normalized a lot of bad behavior, right, inside of law firms, unfortunately, and setting good expectations for clients. But yeah, those stats are really important to me. And to get back to your question, to level set there, I think it's important to know kind of where people are at. But when we talk about cash flow, if you're not expecting like whether you really think that way or not, but
Mhm.
statistically, you're not able to get paid for a quarter from when you do the work, well, it's not like your bills or your expenses evaporate and get to shift to a quarterly cycle,
Yep.
right? Your rent, your electricity, and the number one thing is payroll, right? Whether
Mhm.
you're solo trying to pay yourself a livable wage, which I've lived through, right? And still at times feel like, ooh, I might be able to make more money doing something else. But it's a different thing what brought us into running, our own businesses, and that's for the firm owners too. But yeah, your employees would riot, right? If you're like, bad news, guys, we got to move this out to a quarter from now, you'd fall apart. And
Yeah.
so that's when I think is maybe the most valuable way to think about cash flow, right? You have to keep the money moving through your business so that you can meet your obligations, right? And once we've achieved that, that's kind of table stakes, then we can start to achieve our goals.